Hey guys, welcome back to 1776 or Bust. So a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, if you guys haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. That would be great. Also, some thumbs up would be awesome as well. I get probably roughly 1,000 views within the first day and a half, which isn't much by many other standards, but it's pretty good for me. But I would always appreciate if you guys would just acknowledge the video by giving it a thumbs up, kind of boosts it up, I guess, in some magical algorithm. Again, if you haven't done that, I would really appreciate if you just do it right now. And also, I do have Patreon if you wouldn't mind helping out the channel that way. That would be great too. If not, that's okay. So let's talk about why we're here. And we're actually talking about this gun right here. And I'll hold that up for the camera. And that is the Walther PDP F. Now, if you've seen my channel before, you know that I've been a huge Walther fan since the days of the PPQ. Again, a fantastic gun. I love the PPQ. Even to this day, it's still a very good gun. Now, the PDP, when it first came out, I was super excited because I was really looking at this as sort of a newer version of the PPQ. And while it was a more modern version or modern take-up of their striker-fired pistol, which, again, was their flagship at that point, I think it kind of missed on a couple of marks. Now, the PDP has everything that a modern striker-fire should. It has great serrations, great ergonomics, great texturing on the grip. It has the ability to mount an optic if you choose to do that. But the one thing that always felt kind of odd to me about the regular PDP was the grip, as ergonomic as it was and as comfortable it was in the hand, it felt like it didn't work with the slide because the slide is a bit blocky. It's a bit bulky, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the way the gun actually felt symmetrically in my hand. As a matter of fact, it felt asymmetrical because it just felt like the slide was not necessarily a modern cut slide, even though it had the optic on it, and yet you had this amazing grip that was a very modern feeling grip. So as you can see, the PDP F is slightly different. You do not have that big hump in the back of the grip, and you also don't have those little, I guess like striations, if you want to call it that, or finger grooves on the grip itself. Instead, you've got a very flat grip. You have no real hump back here, so it is a very, very straight up and down, about probably I'd say like maybe a 45-degree angle, maybe a little less than that. But again, it does keep a lot of the great benefits on the old PDP because you still have that great texturing. You still have the great serrations on the slide, and you have that amazing trigger. Now, just to kind of give you an idea of this trigger here, guys, this trigger is just amazing. The take-up is super, super short, very nice break. And then the reset is even better, so it's nice and short. Now, interestingly enough, Walther actually started marketing this when it first came out as a female version of the PDP. Now, I think that's kind of ridiculous in a way because, first off, I think it's a little bit stereotyping regarding female shooters, that female shooters have weaker hands, female shooters need smaller guns, female shooters need to have a shorter distance of reach with the trigger pull. I mean, a lot of those things might be true for some, but definitely not for all, and that goes for everybody. In this case, when I picked up the gun, I immediately fell in love with it. Not because I have tiny, dainty hands. I actually have large to extra large hands and pretty long fingers. And for me, this gun sits just absolutely perfect in my hand. The reason why I like this gun a little bit more than the PDP is just because it doesn't have that massive hump in the back. And what happens is as your hand goes onto that gun, you're actually able to get a little bit further underneath the slide, which allows a little bit more controllability of the firearm. Now, some of you might disagree with that, and that's totally fine. That's just from my experience of shooting this gun and putting 200 rounds through it. This gun was awesome. It was fun to shoot. A little bit snappier than other guns, obviously, because you do have a pretty large slide on top of the grip. But at the end of the day, this gun was perfect. This, to me, is what the PDP should be in every single one of them, because ergonomically, I think it's superior to the actual original PDP. Now, not only do we have a different grip or a little bit of a different style grip, but you know this slide here is actually, according to them, there's a two-piece striker in this gun, which allows the slide to be actuated a lot easier than the regular PDP. Now, is that true? Well, I'm going to have to take their word for it. I don't know. I can tell you that the slide is very easy to manipulate. And if I look at my PPQ, I can definitely feel a little more resistance in the slide. And I'll use this as the example because to me, the PPQ and the PDP are almost on the same ground on a lot of different ways. The trigger is also another thing. Again, you have a shorter reach trigger. And again, this was supposedly geared to women with shorter fingers. Again, I don't agree with that. I think this was an absolute misstep when it comes to the marketing of the firearm. But again, I don't work for Walther. Overall, the trigger is not a problem. Like I said, I have basically large to extra large hands. I've got very long fingers. And I don't really feel like there's that big of a deal to have to reach that far back to that trigger. As a matter of fact, in comparing the two guns when I shot them side by side, the PPQ and the PDP actually don't feel that much different. Obviously, my PPQ has the Apex trigger on there, but the distance of travel once you start pulling that trigger is about the same on both guns, interestingly enough. Position-wise, it's a little bit different. The PPQ with the Apex trigger, and I don't know if you'll be able to see this on camera, guys, but the PPQ trigger sits a little bit further up. Let me get that to line up. It does sit slightly further up, and I know it's hard to see. You're going to have to trust me on that, but it's just a hair further away from the back of this actual trigger guard, or whatever you want to call it. And when I look at the PDP, it's a beautiful looking gun on the PDP F. I mean, it's just a fantastic gun. And the way it shot was excellent. One of the things I didn't like was the sights on this gun. And so I already swapped those out. I had some Ameriglows that were built for a Glock. So I put these on here, no problems. They went on with no issues at all, no movement, nothing. So, I mean, overall, the PDP F, while it is not anything super different from the regular PDP, honestly, I think they got this gun right. Now, of course, what do they offer it in? They offer it in the 4-inch, and then I think they have a 3.6. Not really sure if I'd get the 3.6. I wish they would offer it in a couple of different variants in regards to color schemes. Obviously, the PDP now is gray, green, I think FDE as well, and of course, black. In this case, all you're going to find is this or the 3.8. I think it's 3.6. And if I'm wrong, my apologies. But all you're going to see is this in black, and then in 3.6 PDP F, you actually can get it with a, I believe, a Cerakoted gray slide with the black lower. So, I mean, there's not a lot of diversity to the gun, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think you really need it. This is a superior gun, in my opinion, just because of the ergonomics. Again, it shot really well. I don't have any of the camera footage, guys. It was in the batch that I had with my prior video I just made, and everything got screwed up with my stupid GoPro. So I'm kind of ticked off about that. Overall, I did shoot these side by side. The PPQ definitely felt a lot, I won't say a lot, but definitely a little bit more snappier. But interestingly enough, I actually shot the PPQ a little bit better. I don't know if it's just because I have so many hours behind this gun versus the PDP, but overall, the PPQ actually shot a little bit better for me. I also shot it next to the VP9. Again, it's a little bit of a different firearm because the VP9 obviously is a little bit lower in regards to the slide height, and the trigger is not as good, but I did shoot that very well. It's super comfortable ergonomically. You know, obviously, if I had to choose, I'm probably going to go with the PDP F because I just like the way this gun fits even better. Now, a couple of side notes. One of the things that I would tell you is that with the PDP, if you have a PDP, you will not be able to mix the magazines. In other words, this gun right here does not take the regular PDP magazines. If you're going to get a PDP F, you're going to have to get yourself some PPQ magazines. PPQ magazines fit, no problem. They are interchangeable between the PPQ and the PDP F. However, from what I've gathered and what I've read, the PDP is not interchangeable with the PDP F, and it is not interchangeable with the PPQ. To me, another blunder by Walther because they really should have made those compatibility issues non-existent between the PDP and the PPQ, period. Again, do I think if you have a PDP, you should go out and sell it and get a PDP F? Not really. If you're happy with it, keep it. It's a great gun. However, if you're on the fence of which one to get, it's really going to depend on a couple of things. First off, do you have a big hand? And I mean, when I'm talking big, I'm talking monster hand. Then the PDP F may not work. The trigger is shorter, so you have to understand you're going to lose some distance there and control when you're pulling that trigger because you're not really making contact with your index finger at all, really, on the side of the slot or on the side of the grip. However, if you have large, extra large hands, this will probably work just fine. If you have small to medium hands, this is going to work perfectly. Also, as you can see, Lock Grips has made some awesome stuff for this gun. You can see that I have the magwell here in this beautiful Walther blue. Awesome, just fantastic looking. I absolutely love that. And also, of course, they do make the brass base plates here. As you can see right here, this thing is pretty awesome. Makes it super easy to get that magazine in, and it drops out awesome. Again, I also have the brass backstrap here. And once I put that on, I mean, the gun with all the combined weight, this thing shot so well. So happy to have it. And honestly, this kind of reinvigorated my love of Walther. I mean, I've had a little bit of a dicey history with them, especially with that piece of garbage, the CCP, which a lot of people give me problems about. But I'm telling you, compared to a PDP and a PPQ and a P99 and a PPS M2, that CCP is a piece of garbage. But overall, I absolutely love this PDP F. I would recommend it. It is not for females only. This is, in my opinion, the PDP F stands for PDP Fantastic. This gun is fantastic. So leave some comments down below. Tell me what you think. I'd love to hear what you have to say as always. Again, subscribe if you like. Keep in touch. Write some comments down, whatever you guys want to do. But again, awesome gun. Totally recommend it. In my opinion, it's a lot better than the PDP. So with that said, I hope you have a great night. Stay safe. And as always, everyone, freedom is never free.